Yeah, I think just about everyone likes Lots of Smiles, but on picture now is Mick Dittman's mount, Fitting, TAB number 2, and owned by Mr. and Mrs. Jeff White. They could be nearly, apart from the Inghams, the biggest owners of Sydney racehorses. Gary out there looking now is Lots of Smiles. Oh, we just lost it then. It's Super Snooper in there in the pink. Super Snooper trained by Angus Armanasco, TAB number 8, and young David Taggart, the jockey.
The one that I liked, Cam, was Cane Cross by G. It looked well. I thought Fitting looked very well. The interesting runner was Doocy Doo. It was very unlucky at Caulfield. I thought that would have a good chance. And the other one you mentioned, Lots of Smiles, it does look very well.
Yeah, there she is now on centre screen, Lots of Smiles. That green with the gold spots and the black and white striped sleeves and the black and white striped cap. Her jockey is James Cassidy, Jimmy Cassidy, who burst into prominence when he came over from New Zealand on the aptly named Kiwi and won a Melbourne Cup.
Again, we've got an interesting man here, Mr. Les Whittle. Welcome, Les. Must be a few years ago when you won the Cox Plate on, what was it, Yemen?
Yemen, 35 years ago.
35 years ago. Yes. Well, you'd have some wonderful thrills about that race.
Yes, I did so.
Yeah. And,
lucky I was last and never had to go around a horse, which
well, I can remember.
You wouldn't expect that.
Not at that stage, no.
Yeah.
You got a good run. Who were the jockeys in those days?
Oh, Selwood and Moore, they were on the two favourites. And they were good mates of mine too. We all had a good party after.
Oh, right. All right. Well, that's good. Well, thanks very much, Les.
Okay,
all the best. Enjoy your day.
Good to see these old-time jockeys, particularly those who have won Cox Plates, Gary. There's number 5 about to go in, No Fibbing. As I said, that might apply to us tipsters. We better pull our socks up.
That's right.
I don't think No Fibbing's got much chance here.
The interesting runner is Burette. That was really well backed in the Caulfield Guineas, and it's back in a fillies race today. You know, might shake the life out of them, but it's a very tough race.
Yeah, trained by a man you've had a lot to do with, Bob Hoisted.
That's right, yes. And here's Fitting going in the outside. Drawn 12, so Mick will have to use all his skill to get over from there. You've only got a short run of about 150-odd metres to that first corner there, Ken.
There's Cane Cross, the horse you liked, Gary. She looks well, racing, trained by David Hayes.
Well, it's hard to fault his horses, Ken, because they always look so well. You notice the Friedman horses, you know, the Hayes, Cummings, these great trainers. Jack Denham's horse, you know, they all look well.
There, and there's the Moonee Valley racetrack and the 1 mile start, or the 1600 metre start, I should say, as I get with the times. And here's the man to call the action, Johnny Tapp.
Righto, Ken, race 2 on Cox Plate Day. This is the Crown Lager Stakes, 3-year-old fillies, 1600 on a glorious day. They're off. And Dosey Do near the inside, and Miss Brightier bounced away smartly. No Fibbing is quickly into stride, followed by Sandpiper, Burette, Lots of Smiles, Cairn Crosses coming over in a hurry. Barbadian wider out is going fast towards the lead. Look at this charge. Dittman on Fitting must be 6 or 7 deep as they approach that first turn, and Alcove is up there with him. But the top weight, Dosey Do is the leader. Dosey Do is in front, Fitting getting to second. Running third now, Barbadian getting over near to the fence, followed by Alcove. No Fibbing on the fence in the centre, Cairn Cross and Eastern Ore travelling 3 deep, followed by Sandpiper. Further back in the field, Lots of Smiles, followed by Miss Brightier, then Burette. A long way back, second last, Super Snooper, and Swift Falcon is last as they race to the 800 metres mark. Dosey Do the leader, about 3/4 to Fitting second. Moving up wide out now is Eastern Ore. On the fence, Barbadian, followed by Alcove, and then Sandpiper a bit wide. Lots of Smiles right off the track, starting to go forward. No Fibbing got shuffled back a bit, followed by Cairn Cross, and then Burette, Super Snooper, followed by Miss Brightier, and Swift Falcon is last, down by the school. They're bunching up tightly, and Dosey Do just in front of Fitting. Eastern Ore is out deep. Barbadian with nowhere to go, followed by Sandpiper, and then Super Snooper. Alcove is behind a big bunch of horses. Lots of Smiles is a mile back. Under pressure, she'll have to do a sensational job to win. Into the straight, Dosey Do the leader. Fitting struggling. Barbadian pushing out of the pocket. Here's Burette, and further out is Super Snooper. Burette went to the lead, 100 out. Super Snooper driving at it. Burette just in front. Super Snooper lunges on the outside and got up to win. Super Snooper in the last stride over Burette. Barbadian might be third, just in front of No Fibbing, followed by Fitting. At the head of the other, Swift Falcon, who made up ground from Eastern Ore, Alcove, Cairn Cross. A long way back, Sandpiper, followed by Dosey Do and Miss Brightier, and Lots of Smiles is absolute last to finish. Oh, the biggest tip all day, biggest tip for a month probably. Failed to beat a rival to the judge and was a spent force on the turn into the straight. Super Snooper on the outside goes home best and has got there in the last couple of hops. Is going to pay in Victoria $16 and $4.30. Number 3, Burette second, a place dividend of $2.90. third looked pretty close. I fancy maybe Barbadian in there with the white blinkers. See that one about 2 horses off the fence, white blinkers, Barbadian. There's one getting through near the inside when the race is as good as over, but I think Barbadian has just been able to hang on for third. Number 7 will pay a place dividend of $3. Ken? Well, there's one big tip that went astray.
Yeah, and it is officially third Barbadian, the return for Simon O'Donnell. Here, Burette, who was magnificently ridden by young Stephen King, is in front, but Super Snooper down the outside in the pink and white stripes just grabs her in the last few hops. She's part owned by a good mate of mine, Cold Tidy, the Sydney bookmaker, but I don't think there was a hell of a lot of confidence in the owners, Gary, as we pick them up here. Burette is in the red cap, sort of second widest to the leading division, and then the pink cap is the winner.
Yeah, Super Snooper. I actually thought Burette was home. I was cheering for you, Kenny, because I know you liked it. And there's the widest runner of the outside of Burette there, just nailing her right on the line.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I backed the favourite, Lots of Smiles, but I did save me money on Burette, but not to turn out that way. And the winner, Super Snooper, trained by the old marvel, Angus Armanasco. And there she is in centre screen, coming back for David Taggart. Super Snooper by Zeditov, who was also trained by Angus Armanasco. That was race 2. We'll be back shortly with more on Cox Plate Day.
Okay, we're back to Moonee Valley Live, and we've got the totes coming up now on that previous race. And the winner, Super Snooper, returns $16.50 and $4.30. A few punters out of business already after only 2 races. The runner-up, Burette, $2.90, and Barbadian third paid $3. The Quinella was $83.80, and the trifecta, $1,961 even. All right, Max, 2 down and 2 roughies so far.
Here's Tabby, the bookie's going for cover. Okay, with the impressive starters in the Moya Stakes and the Cox Plate, Lee Friedman is sure to have his fingers crossed here at Moonee Valley today. Anne-Marie Sparkman is speaking to one of our most consistent trainers.
I'm with the trainer of the Cox Plate favourite, Naturalism, Lee Friedman. It's a bit of deja vu, isn't it? I mean, you were here last year with the red-hot favourite, Naturalism, then.
Yeah, he's... it's good to get the horse back to a race like this and have him in as good a form as he's in, and you know, just hoping that we get a bit of luck, which we didn't get last year. And such a good horse around here, you've got to give him a great chance.
Well, last year was such an emotional time and a real quandary for you. Superimpose, your grand old man won, but your really hot chance, Naturalism, you know, got caught in the pile-up. Yeah,
it was an extraordinary feeling. I didn't know quite how to feel. At first I was elated the other horse won, obviously, but I was quite worried about what had happened to Mick Dittman and what had happened to the horse, and you don't want to experience that too many times.
With Naturalism, it must be very, very satisfying for you, the condition he's in now. After the Japan Cup, he had a bit of a flat spot, didn't he? A lot of people were writing him off.
Yeah, he was down on his form, but you see that a lot in sport. And I mean, the champions come back, and this horse has shown 2 weeks ago that he's on the way back, and I think he's probably improved a little bit for today. So if he has, you make things interesting. But
do you get amused the way the scribes write these horses off so quickly?
Yeah, some of them do and some of them don't. I mean, it depends where you are, you know. It just depends where you are and who's writing the story. But I don't take much notice of the paper, and half the time I don't buy it, so...
Not too mean to buy.
Yeah, probably, yeah, probably.
Runyon not running today, story there?
Well, you know, it's well chronicled, the story that about him, you know, the problems he's had in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And we thought we had him pretty right this week, but training Thursday, he went fair. Only fair, and they aggravated the injury again to his heel, so we didn't have much option but to pull him out.
And with that inquiry continuing over your head, does that add to the nerves, to the tension of this spring racing carnival?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of added pressure, which I would have preferred not to have had, but you know, it's there, and we're coping with it, and you know, it'll come to a conclusion in the next week or 2, and it'll be out of the way, I hope.
Well, I woke up this morning feeling nervous, and I haven't got the favourite in the race. It must be a great deal of tension on a day like this for you.
Well, it sort of builds more towards the race for us because early in the morning we've got too much else to do and too much else to worry about to be nervous about it. But I usually don't tense up much until they actually start putting on the gates.
But I heard from very good sources that you used to wear a pair of Lucky and underpants in the last spring carnival, and they had nice little pigs on them. Is the underpants still alive and kicking?
Yeah, they're alive. I think they live in the shoebox now, and they help clean my shoes every now and again.
I believe that the elastic went in them at one stage.
It did. That was in one of my more portly stages. I've lost a bit of weight since then, so you know, I didn't really want to run around here with my underpants around my ankles all day.
But new sunglasses?
Yeah, new sunnies. Lost the old ones about 6 weeks ago and been squinting ever since, so I thought in an effort to rid myself of the crow's feet, I'd get the sunnies back on.
Well, it is going to be a great day, and I know that the Cox Plate for you is the ultimate race to win.
Yeah, it's the best race. The best horse is contested, and it's fast, giving the Melbourne Cup a good run for its money. I think as a spectacle, it's unparalleled, and you can never question the quality of the winner.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sam Marie Sparkman there getting a pretty good return for no money invested from trainer Lee Friedman. Now, progress scores amongst our guest tipsters after race.
But we've got to stick with them once more because Mahogany is possibly the best 3-year-old in Australia over a middle distance. He'll win this race today, the AAMI Vars, and I reckon he'll nearly win the Victoria Derby. He's TAB number 1, he's showing $2.10 a win, which is odds of round about 10 to 9 against. Fraternity, the winner of the Champion Stakes in Sydney, is at 14 to 1. Let's Cut Loose is a 10 to 1 chance. Zaremba, horse who likes to get out in front, ran second in Sydney in the Champion Stakes, trained by Bob Thompson, the trainer of Silk Ali and Slight Chance. Zaremba is at 7 to 1. Pride of Rancho, 20 to 1. Magic of Money, well, it's not too magical today, although we've had 2 roughies win the first 2 races, and Magic of Money is at 33 to 1. Cosmic Triss is a 15 to 1 chance. Mappley Star is at 20 to 1, and the filly Capchat, taking on the Colts, is paying $4.20, which is odds of about 3 1/4 to 1. Now I've got to throw over to young Peter Sterling, and Peter, I reckon Simon O'Donnell might be getting a big head at this stage.
Well, he's always had a fairly big head. You've only got to have a look at it, Ken. But fair bit of prize money there for third place. So Simon, well, he's in front on 2 scores. About lots of smiles. It covered more territory than Burke and Wills. I don't expect Mahogany to do the same. You're tipping the favourite?
Lots of smiles. Should be retired to stud as far as I'm concerned. It's a shocker. But in this race, Mahogany's a horse I do like. The 2000 will suit it. I can envisage Zaremba, the Sydney horse, getting along in front with Shane Dye. Mahogany should really get the run of the race. It'll be sure to be favourite, but I've got to back it. $10.
You got money in the kick, Simon. Which way is it going?
Yet another gutsy move from Paul, but no, I'll go down with Johnny Marr and training at Flemington and Capchat. Ran a good race at Caulfield last start, beaten by Abaria, and I think it'll get the 2000 and will win. $10 on the end of it.
Yeah, well, I'm going $10 straight out on Mahogany as well. It's starting to worry me. 3 picks and 3 picks along with Paul Borton. We haven't had a result yet. It'll win Mahogany. The dangers, I think, Zaremba as well, the Sydney horse. Capchat, it's got to be a chance, but the way that it won the Caulfield Guineas last start, it'll win. Back to you, Max. We'll get the money this time.
Yes, Stillo, I think the whole field's a danger to you blokes out there.
Clear straightening up, led by a length and a half to Just Dance On, followed by Malta Bella and then Gom Jabber and Tennessee Moore not doing enough. Rust Essence is clear halfway down the straight. Just Dance On is coming out after her now, and Tennessee Moore is flying in the last bit, but Rust Essence is holding them at bay and she'll win. Rust Essence beat Just Dance On and ahead away third Tennessee Moore.
Yes, the office there for John Tapp, one of the best in the business, and can you believe it or not, calling for the first time here in race 1 at Moonee Valley, the Seaview Champagne. The Seaview Champagne Stakes, and I haven't had a glass of champagne yet. One of the Cox Plate's biggest question marks, though, hangs over Australasia's Horse of the Year, the Andacross. And last spring, the New Zealand champion had 5 Group 1 wins and scored near misses in the Caulfield and Melbourne Cups. But the current spring campaign has been a nightmare. Despite improving track gallops late this week, it will take a dramatic form revival for the 5-year-old to win today. Anne-Marie Sparkman followed Bandy from the tranquility of his home in New Zealand's North Island to the rigours of Melbourne's Spring Carnival.
patch of paradise is Wanganui in the North Island of New Zealand. And this is the Wanganui Wonder at work. Leandercross, the Australasian Horse of the Year, with his owner, trainer and protector, Chris Turner, on board. Together they are the ultimate fairy tale, a classic story about an ordinary school teacher who, with only $1,400 in his pocket, went out and, against the odds, fought a champion.
Yes, it is a dream come true. It is hard to believe, really. We would have been more than happy just to get into the races and win one or two and had our fun.
Fun and fame and fortune. Vandy has won more than $2.5 million in prize money, and last season claimed 5 Group 1 victories.
Dittman goes for Leandercross with the whip. He answers magnificently. The champion strides away, Leandercross. Leandercross for the Australian Cup, a length and a half.
He also finished second in the Melbourne and Caulfield Cups. And the secret to his success? Well, when Vandy's not racing, he's living the good life at the Turner's farm. The 5-year-old gelding is thoroughly spoiled.
Oh, Chris cringes and stuff, but he does. He loves that horse. I don't think if he had 100 other horses, he could feel how he does for that one, because Vandy was only 3 to 4 months old when he came here, and he spent hours, and when I mean hours, I mean hours, with that horse from when he was tiny. And he knows them intimately. He can look at them and just think, oh, something's not quite right, or he needs this.
The expectations of Vandy for the Spring Carnival were enormous. Even before he made the trip across the Tasman, he was a hot favourite for the Cox Plate. But the celebrities' campaign has been patchy. In the acid test, the Caulfield Stakes 2 weeks ago, the champion had a disastrous day. Leandercross slipped out of the barrier and was checked and kicked, finishing 10th, 7 lengths behind the winner, Naturalism. But while the racing public may have lost faith, Chris Turner has not.
Horses are horses, and the people that are involved with them do love them for what they are, and sometimes it may hurt them, but we keep going.
Well, the horses aren't robots, and neither are the owners, so it must hurt when you read bad publicity, especially about a champion like Leandercross.
No, it doesn't hurt, because we know what he's done, and he's our champion, so that's all that matters.
This week, the speculation has continued over Vandy's fitness, whether his injured leg and strained back would allow this fighter to give his best. Certainly, the punters and media have jumped right off the Kiwis bandwagon, especially after this uninspiring showing at the Breakfast with the Stars. Pitted against the Phantom Chance and Maracus, Mick Dittman was struggling just to keep Vandy in touch.
Down the line they work, Maracus and the Phantom Chance, little between them, and Leandercross back on about a length.
Some say he's lost the sparkle, the zest. The Cox Plate will answer all those questions.
Even with this slight setback, how do you think he'll be prepared when the Cox Plate comes along?
He should be 100%. If he's not 100%, we wouldn't run him.
And then after that, obviously, he's still hoping for the Japan Cup. And what about the Melbourne Cup? I mean, he's still there in the betting?
That's still there in our mind, yes. We get it straight after the Cox Plate. We will sit down and have a look to see how he's run. We'll analyse it and to see where we're going to go. But we can't make any sort of commitment until after the Cox Plate.
Whatever the outcome, Vandy can look forward to a long, happy retirement when the glory days are over.
I think Vandy's going to survive till he's 30. He said, I'll be 70. He said, I'll be over there when I'm 70 cleaning out his stable. And he said, I'm going to get a big screen up there, and I'm going to replay his races to him, showing when Vandy was king and I was young. I think he probably will too.
Beautiful pictures there. One of racing's real fairy tale stories. In just over 2 hours' time, we'll see how he goes in the 72nd running of the WS Cox Plate. Right now, Ken Callender has the latest betting on race 3 at Moonee Valley.
Yes, Max, I've got to get over this race yet, or there mightn't be any Cox Plate, not for me kick anyway. And I've got my cash on number 1 Mahogany, and this time I will be collecting. Mahogany is showing 10 to 9 or $2.10 for $1 investment. Go boy. Greg Hall, the rider. Fraternity from Sydney is at 14 to 1. Fraternity seems to run at the winning post like you'd run at the edge of a cliff. He's not all that keen to get to the line. Let's Cut Loose is into 9 to 1. Zaremba, the likely leader in the race, paying about $8.40, round about 7.5 to 1 or 15 to 2. 20 to 1 Pride of Rancho, 30 to 1 Magic of Money, 15 to 1 Cosmic Tris, 20 to 1 Mappley Star, and the filly Cap Chat still at 3 1/4 to 1, or just getting out a fraction, $4.40, almost 3 1/2 to 1, or 7 to 2. They're the tote prices with about 9 minutes to post time. The action's hotting up, and we'll be back to see more shortly after this break.
Today on Wide World of Sports, we're putting $5,000 as usual on our line in a special thoroughbred edition of our Memorable Moments giveaway.
Amy Vase, it's over 2,040 metres. The Cox Plate starting point, as a matter of fact. It's a set weight race for 3-year-olds. The Colts and Geldings carry 55.5. The fillies carry 53, and there is only one filly in the race. Her name is Cap Chat, and Ken, she's a pretty slippery filly at that.
A bit of a tip around for a John. I think Simon O'Donnell's got his cash on Cap Chat. I've got mine on number 1 Mahogany, and Mahogany is now in from 10 to 9 to even money. Fraternity from Sydney, still at big odds, coming a little though, into about 12 to 1, almost 11 to 1 now. Let's Cut Loose, TAB number 3, is at 9 to 1. Zaremba, as I've said a few times, the likely leader. Bit of money for him now, he's into almost 6 to 1. Pride of Rancho is at 20 to 1. Magic of Money is getting out a little bit. Magic of Money to 33 to 1. Cosmic Tris is out another point to 16 to 1. Mappley Star is a 20 to 1 chance. And Cap Chat, well, she's got the blows too. Simon never put enough on her, and she's out to 4 to 1. And they're behind the barrier now, getting ready for the running of race 3, a race for 3-year-olds over the Cox Plate course. And a man who knows the right tactics, of course, is Slipper himself, Shane Dye.
Race 3 of the day. The 2,040 metre race for 3-year-olds. Barriers of little importance. You have a very good run of 300 metres to the first turn. Then if you're wide, you've still got another 300 metres after the next turn to get in. It's very hard to lead these races and win. The best position is always running 4th or 5th, one off the fence. But the main thing to do is get off the fence at about the 600 metres and go forward. I'm on a horse called Zaremba. He's got a very good chance. The one to beat's Mahogany.
Yeah, Zaremba is a leader, and Shane Dye is likely to be out in front, or at least near the lead on Zaremba. That was Mahogany in the blue colours there, and the field Mills behind the barrier. Well, we've got they've got Ron Quinton there on jockey cam. Ron, can you hear me? I don't think Ron can quite...
yes, I got you there, Ken.
Good on you, mate. Excitement building up here today. How do you like being on the Clerk of the Courses pony?
Certainly a change in scenery, Ken, all right, but no, I'm enjoying it. It's very good. The track's in excellent order. It's light and fast, and you know, these horses here in this particular race, Mahogany looks fit as a trout. Looks really well, and if you can have a nice run going comfortably, it's hard to beat.
That's given me added confidence, Ronnie. We'll keep up the good work, and we'll throw to you during the day, particularly when the big one comes up, the Cox Plate.
Okay, mate.
He looks all right on that Clerk of the Courses pony, Gary.
It really suits him, doesn't he? Some of these guys better watch out. This is a very interesting race, this, Ken. This is a race that a lot of trainers use to a stepping stone for the Derby. They're moving in fairly quick here. Yeah. I like Cap Chat. I think she'll settle behind them, and she might get home over the top of them.
Okay, here's Johnny Tapp.
Good, Ken, and they're just about under starters' orders for the Amy Vase 2040. And this is exactly the scene you'll be watching. Oh, gee. Oh, Fraternity Red. Fraternity Red, just as the starter said go, and made a complete and utter botch of the start. Came out 8 or 9 lengths behind the others, and you got one hell of a bird's eye view of that as Fraternity went up in the air. At the judge the first time, and the pace is muddling. It's Pride of Rancho wants to go hard in front, led by a length and a half. Magic of Money second, Mahogany trying to drop onto the fence third. Zaremba 3 wide as they go out of the straight, followed by Cosmic Tris and a half length away. The only filly, Cap Chat. Further back is Mappley Star as they race out of the straight now. Let's Cut Loose being second last on the outside, and Fraternity is 2.5 away last and had to do plenty of work to catch them up after bombing the start. as they race down the side of the track past the 1400 mark. Pride of Rancho at a muddling bat as the leader. Surprisingly, Zaremba sitting in behind the pace today. A length and a half away, Magic of Money wants to go faster. On the fence then as they swing down the back is Cosmic Triss, followed by Mahogany, who's fifth, about 5 off the lead. Further back then is Mapperly Star, followed by Capchat. Second last being Let's Cut Loose on the outside, and Fraternity is now run up on the fence at the tail of the field as they go by the 1,000 mark. Down the back straight in the Amy Vase. Pride of Rancho the leader, Zaremba second, Cosmic Triss is running third. A half length away on the outside, Magic of Money, 1.5 Mahogany, who's jogging at the moment, followed by Mapperly Star, and then Capchat and Fraternity, and a half length away last is Let's Cut Loose as they race down the side towards the school. 600 metres out, and now they're putting on the pressure. Pride of Rancho being tackled by Zaremba, who's under some pressure. Out 3 deep as they come down the side. Magic of Money, Cosmic Triss on the fence, followed by Mahogany. Out very deep, Let's Cut Loose, followed by Mapperly Star and Fraternity, and Capchat is bailed up between horses. Coming to the turn, Pride of Rancho just in front of Zaremba, followed by Cosmic Triss. Mahogany getting a bit of a buffeting between horses. By G might be giving away too much start. Zaremba on the outside is coming at Pride of Rancho, and they're well clear of Mahogany. Pride of Rancho, Zaremba. Zaremba on the outside, put his head in front, close to home, and Zaremba coming away on the line to win it by about a neck to Pride of Rancho. Mahogany didn't fire a shot in the straight. A pretty ordinary third, followed by Cosmic Triss, and at the head of the others, Mapperly Star, followed by Let's Cut Loose. A long way back, Capchat and Fraternity, and Magic of Money is knocked up to run last. Oh, disappointing Mahogany. He should have been moving up from about the 600 mark. That's where they start to make their runs, and that's where they've got to be making their runs at Moonee Valley. But he just wasn't moving up as we expected him to be, and it was obvious on the turn that Pride of Rancho, who improved enormously on his failure in the Caulfield Guineas, and Zaremba, which was striding along in second place most of the way. Zaremba's a very fit, hard horse, and he wore down Pride of Rancho. Funny thing, Shane Dye rode Pride of Rancho in the Caulfield Guineas and finished a mile back. Got beaten about 10 lengths on that occasion. Zaremba tackling Pride of Rancho, who found plenty. Mahogany's about 3.5 or 4 lengths away. Oh, very, very disappointing. Ken, the winner, Zaremba, no surprise to see him win 670 and 180. Malcolm Johnston retired about 3 weeks too early.
That's right, John. Zaremba normally leads, but he was held up behind the leader today. There he is in the blinkers, and with 58,500 for first prize, Gary, Connections are glad they came south.
Well, that's right, Ken. There's a lot of these horses had their reputations dented there. Like, I thought Mahogany pulled very hard in the race. I doubt if he'll run the Derby distance.
Certainly can't the way race there.
But all the honours with this, Rima, and Pride of Rancho, by gee, he put on very well. Jim Marconi's always got a good horse.
Mate, they went along at a jog trot, and there was probably no surprise that the first two round the corner were the first two home. And there's Bob Thompson there in the centre screen, trainer being swamped by the press. And, well, I think Zaremba won in the Champion Stakes. He was just beaten by Fraternity. But Fraternity had a lot of trouble here today getting out of the barrier. Johnny, do you notice the way Fraternity jumped at the start?
Ken, we got a classic shot of it. As you can see there, Fraternity Red slammed Brian York against one of the rear uprights, so it seemed. And, well, you won't get a better view than that one. He must have missed it 8 or 9 lengths, and that was the end of the section. You just can't give away that much start. Look at the Barney Google blinkers on Zaremba as he trots back to scale. He's not the, by no means the best 3-year-old in Australia, but he's tough, he's durable, and he's very, very genuine. Zaremba, trained by Bobby Thompson, who has slight chance running in the Cox Plate a little later, as we take this break on this special Cox Plate edition of Wide World of Sports. Okay, back to Moonee Valley, and we're standing by for Toad Divvies. We'll have those in a moment. Mightn't be a bad idea if we take another peep at Fraternity blundering the start of the Amy Vase. There he is in Dominic Burns, very conspicuous colours. Now, one of the gatemen has hold of Fraternity's left ear. Now, that is a very common sight in the starting gates, and I wouldn't for one moment suggest that's the reason the horse reared, because I think I've explained to you before in racing segments on this program that it does have a pacifying effect on horses when horses tend to be a little stirred.